Hey guys, welcome to Coding Spot and welcome to part 3 of this tutorial on how to do Google's Tic Tac Toe. So in the last video we created our board, our console board, and we did 3 functions. The mark square function that basically marks a square in the console board, the available square function that returns true or false depending on whether a square is available or not, and the isBoard function that returns true if our board is full. In this video we are actually going to link our console board to our screen board. So if we click a square in the screen board, that same square is going to be marked in our console board. We also are going to start drawing the circles and crosses each time a player clicks a square in the screen board, and we are going to check if a player wins. Okay, so let's start linking our console board with our screen board. So we want to go to the main loop and we want to type the following. So if event.type equals Pygame the mouse button down. So basically this line of code is checking if we are clicking the screen. So in other words, the code inside this if statement will execute if we clicked our screen. So in order to link our console board to our screen board, we need to access our X and Y coordinates when we are clicking our screen. And we do that by writing event.pass, and if we pass a 0 we are getting the X coordinate, and if we pass a 1 we get the Y coordinate. So we're gonna save these values into 2 variables. So I'm gonna call them mouse X and mouse Y. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and print these values for you to see what this function does. So print mouse Y, we're gonna save and run. And I'm gonna try to click close to the 0,0 coordinate. So right here, I'm gonna close it. And as you can see, we have clicked the X equals 0 and the Y equals 2. So hope that's clear now. I'm gonna go and delete this. Okay, so now I want you to think of the following. As you know, this board, if we want to access either a row or a column, we will need to pass a number between 0 and 2, right? So we cannot use these mouse X and mouse Y values because they can be a number between 0 and 600. That is our screen width and height. So we need to do something in order to make these two values smaller, and not only smaller but a number between 0 and 2. Okay, let me quickly show you what I'm trying to say. So I'm gonna go ahead and run the file. So okay, let's say we want to mark this square, so the first one. As you know, if we want to mark this square through the console board, we will need to pass a 0 for the row and a 0 for the column, right? So basically what I'm trying to say is that either if we click here or here or here or here, we want to return always the same X and Y coordinate. So for this case, for this specific case, if we hit here or click here, we want to return for the X a value of 0 and for the Y a value of 0. But let's say we want to mark this square, I don't know. So we want to return 0, 1, 2, 2 for the X, and 0 and 1 for the Y. So we want to return 2, 1. Okay, so let's go ahead and do it. we're gonna create a variable called clicked row and a variable called clicked call. So clicked row is going to be equal to mouse y double slash, and this rounds the number down 200. And 200 is the length of each square, or the distance between a line and the next one. We want to do the same for clicked call, but with mouse X. And we want to make sure these are ints, not floats. This is important, so make sure you put the int. Okay, so let's go ahead and print those variables now. Okay, I'm gonna save and run. So I'm going to click the first square, so it should return 0 for the x and 0 for the y. And as you can see, it returned 0 and 0. Let's go ahead and build it again. And this time I'm gonna click this one, this square. So this will be the row number 1. I'm sorry, the row number 2 and the column number 1. So it will be 2, 1. I click it. As you can see, we have the 2, 1. Okay guys, so once we have these two variables, we are gonna go ahead and check if the square that we want to mark is available. So we're gonna call our available function, and we're gonna pass click row and clicked call. So if we enter this if statement, is because the square we want to mark is available, so we can go ahead and mark it. But as you know, the mark square function right here receives a player. So let's go ahead and create a player variable. I'm gonna name it player and set it equal to 1. So we're gonna check if player equals 1. And if player equals 1, we want to mark the square in the clicked row, clicked call with the player equal to 1. And if the player equals 2, we want to mark the square in the clicked row, in the clicked call with the player equal to 2. So now what we want to do is actually update this player variable. So I want to go here, and when player 1 has marked his square, we can now set player to be equal to 2. And when player 2 has marked his square, we can go ahead and set player equal to 1. So this will let us change the player variable between 1 and 2 forever. Okay, so let's go ahead and test our code. We're gonna start by deleting all this code, all these printing statements. Make sure to, if you haven't already, to delete this, because this is going to make your board full. So go ahead and delete it. And we are going to print the board right here. And I'm gonna save, I'm gonna run. Okay, so what I wanna do is I'm gonna click here, then here, then here, so on, so on. So we should get a board with 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's go ahead and close the screen. As you can see, the last printing result is 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So it is correctly done, guys. We can go ahead and continue. Okay, but before we continue, make sure to understand what we just did. So basically all of the code right here. And if you're a little bit confused, feel free to pause the video and try to play with the screen board, watch what happens with the console board, and once you're feeling good, go ahead and continue. So we've managed to link our screen board to our console board, but we need a visual representation of what's happening. That's why we want to create a function that draws either a circle or a cross each time a player clicks on an available square. So we're going to call that function draw figures. It's not going to receive any parameter. So the first part of the function is pretty simple. We just want to loop through all the board. So go ahead and write for row in range board rows, and for call in range board calls. So we're gonna start drawing the circles, and you can decide whether player 1 is drawing the circles or player 2 is drawing the circles. I'm gonna go for player 1. So inside these for loops, we want to check the following. We want to check if the board in the row and the column it's actually equal to 1. So this means that player 1 has marked that square. We want to draw a circle, so we're gonna go ahead and put Pygame to draw that circle, and we want to pass a surface, so that will be our screen. We need to pass a color. I'm gonna go with red. We're gonna change that, but I'm gonna go with red for now. Then we want to pass a position. So a position is a tuple, and inside that tuple we want to pass an x coordinate and a y coordinate. So the x coordinate is going to be where the circle is going to start in the x-axis. So go ahead and type int. It needs to be an int, so make sure to put the int word, and go ahead and put the following: call times 200. So remember, call is a number between 0 and 2, and 200 is the square's length, so both width and height, plus 200 divided by 2. And I know it might be a little bit confusing, but I just want you to know that we are telling the function that we want to draw the circles in all the center of the x-axis. So we want to do the same for the y coordinate. So go ahead and type int, and we want to use the row this time. So row times 200 plus 200 divided by 2. And actually we can simplify this and just put 100. Go ahead and do it. Okay, so now we need to pass a radius and a width. So I want to create some constants for that. I'm going to call them circle radius, and this will be equal to 60. I did some tests before, so I know this, but you can put whatever radius you want. And circle width, and again I did some tests and it seemed to work fine with 15. So let's go ahead and pass circle radius and circle width. And I just want to mention really quickly that this should work if you follow my dimensions. So if you create a screen of 600 by 600 pixels, if you didn't follow my dimensions, you should put the width of your screen divided by 3 here, and here will be the width of your screen or the height of your screen, if it's the same, divided by 6. So make sure to play with that if you didn't follow my dimensions. Okay, so this should work now. Let's go ahead and call that function in our main loop. So we want to call it if a player marks a square. So inside this if statement, I'll put it right here. So go ahead and put draw figures, and I want to delete this print statement. Go ahead and save and run. And this should work only with player 1 because we haven't created the player 2 statement. So go ahead and click square, the next one shouldn't work. And as you can see, it works for the player 1. So let's go ahead and do the crosses now. But actually, before we draw the crosses, let's go ahead and change this red color. So I'm gonna create a constant called circle color. And this color is working fine for me, but feel free to play with the values. So I'm using 239, 231, and 200. Let's now pass circle color here, and let's build it. Yeah, so as you can see, it's much better and it's pretty similar to Google's one. So let's go and draw the crosses now. Actually, drawing crosses, it's a little bit more difficult than drawing the circle. That's because we have to draw 2 lines. So let's start by checking if player is equal to 2. So we need to put elif board row in call equals 2. So if player 2 mark that square, and let's type pygame.draw.line. By the way, I'm going to draw the ascending line first, so the one that starts at the bottom left corner. Okay, for surface, we want to pass our screen. Color, I'm going to use red for now. Starting position, we want to pass call times 200, comma row times 200 plus 200. So I know it might be a little bit confusing, but this is just saying that we want to start in all the bottom left corner for each square we clicked. Now let's go ahead and do the ending position. We want to pass call times 200 plus 200, comma row times 200. So again, this is just saying that we want to end at the upper right corner. Okay, and width we are going to pass more or less 55, I think. I'm going to create a constant later for this. Let's go ahead and save and run. Okay, so we should see only the ascending line for now. Obviously, we need to change the width because it's too thick. And another thing that I can see is that we need to leave some kind of space right here and right here. So between the line and the corners, let's go ahead and organize our code. So let's create some more constants. We want to create the cross width, and I think 25 should be okay. Let's create also the space. So that's the space between the line and the corners. I'm gonna set it equal to 55 and a cross color. So I did some tests before and it seemed to be 66, 66, and 66. Let's go ahead and pass that right here. So cross color. Here we want to pass the cross width. And the space, we're gonna add the space here. So plus space. We want to subtract the space here. We want to subtract the space here also. And we want to add the space right here. So we're basically just giving a space between the line and the corners. Let's go ahead and save and run. So yeah, as you can see, it's much better. We can actually make space a little bit smaller, but I think it's good. I'm gonna go with that. Let's quickly draw our second line. So go ahead and type pygame So draw the line. Want to pass our screen, cross color. Starting position is going to be col times 200 plus space, comma, row times 200 plus space. Ending position is going to be col times 200 plus 200 minus space, comma, row times 200 plus 200 minus space. And we want to pass our width here. So I know there is a lot of these 200. We can make it a constant to make our code a little bit more organized, but I'll be doing that in a future video. So let's save and run the file. Okay, so we should see our cross fully finished. Yep, there it is, guys. And as you can see, we can click any square and it works. So we did it. We managed to draw our figures. And by the way, I know I told you that on this video we were going to check if a player wins, but video is getting too long. So I'm gonna show you that in the next video. And we'll also going to draw the winning line. And I think we're going to create a restart function. So for you to restart the game whenever you want. And yep, that's all for this video, guys. So if you're enjoying this tutorial, if you like this video, please leave a like, please comment, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.